Hello everyone, today's objective for today's lesson is we're going to be matching equations to coordinate planes on a graph. But before we begin, we need to understand the coordinate plane a little better and the components of it and what it's constructed by. So first of all, coordinate plane is constructed by two intersecting lines. So you have what we call the x-axis, which is this horizontal line that I'm going to highlight in blue. And then you have the y-axis, which is the vertical line that I'm going to highlight in yellow. And of course, to our previous lesson, we know that the x-axis, all the values that are there, these are all your independent values. And the y-axis is all your dependent values. Okay, and then of course you have your origin, which is basically the center. It's the very middle. And then if you have an ordered pair, and an ordered pair is basically what we use to graph points. So for example, you'll have always start with x and then y. Well, the ordered pair is 0. The origin is 0, 0. Because it's the start, the x is 0, the y is also 0. Another thing you need to understand also is that a coordinate plane is made up of 4 quadrants. Write that down. So we have 4 quadrants. And the word quadrants stems from, if you see the word quad is a root for 4, right? So there's 4 sections and they're numbered the following way. So you have quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. A way for you to remember that is by simply drawing a C for coordinate plane. It starts off at quadrant 1, we go to quadrant 2, then we go to quadrant 3, and then we go to quadrant 4. Okay, so now that we know that, a coordinate plane is used to graph equations, to graph functions, to graph different relationships. Two of the equations that we have are multiplicative versus additive. The main difference between these two is basically, in a multiplicative equation is, for example, you'll have something as y equals 2x, versus an additive, you'll have y equals 2 plus x. The main difference in these two equations is that one of them is a multiplication equation, because if you look at it closely, there's an invisible multiplication sign in between there. So you're taking the 2 and you're multiplying it by whatever the x value is. So this is a multiplication equation. And then in the additive relationship, it is very clearly an addition equation. Right? So this is an addition equation. In this case, for whatever your value for x is, all you're going to do is add 2 to it, as opposed to multiplying by 2. And therefore, when you graph it or when you draw a table, they're not going to have the same values, right? And then another thing we need to remember is that a multiplicative relationship, when you draw the line, so we can write the line will always go through the origin. And you'll see what I mean right now in our next example. But it will always go through the origin. And in an additive relationship, the line does not, so it does not go through the origin. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at one example. And the first one I'm going to do is y equals 2 times x. What I'm going to do in this case is, number one, is it multiplicative or is it additive? Well, if I look at it closely, I know that it's multiplicative because there's no symbol in between them. There's no addition, no subtraction, no division. So then it's multiplication. So I'm going to go ahead and write here that this is in fact a multiplicative relationship because it is a multiplication equation. Secondly, I'm going to draw a table, right? So I'm going to start composing my table. I'm going to set up my columns. This is always x, and this is always y. In your x values, so in this section, you can literally put whatever number you want. I usually always start with 1. You can start with 0. I'm going to start with 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 value, going up to 5 values is perfectly fine. And then I'm going to go ahead and start filling out what should go on the y section. So first of all, the way that you're going to be able to fill that out is if you look at your equation. So your equation is saying in order to get y, so all of these, you need to take all your x's and multiply them by 2. So that means that I'm going to go ahead and go over here, and for all my x's, all I'm going to do is multiply them by 2. So I'm going to do 0 times 2, 1 times 2, 2 times 2, 3 times 2, and 4 times 2. And that will give me my values for y. So let's go and take it and see what that's going to be. So 0 times 2 is 0, 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 2 is 6, 4 times 2 is 8. Now that I've done my table, so first tell me it's multiplicative or additive. So this is the first thing. Second thing, you drew your table. We got that down. 3, let's get our ordered pairs. We're going to get our ordered pairs, right? And your ordered pairs, if you recall, is just x together and then y. And all of that is already right here. You just constructed it. So I'm going to go ahead and write it down. So first order pair that I have is 0, 0, which is again the origin. Then I have 1, 2. Then I have 2, 4, 3, 6, and 4, 8. This is what I'm going to use to start plotting or graphing on my table. The next step that I have now is after I do my order pairs, step 4 is now I'm going to plot on coordinate plane. Now we're going to go in there and actually start plotting them. So here we go. First of all is 0, 0. 0, 0 is just, you're at the origin, so this is 0, 0, the first point. Right here. Second one is 1 to 2, which means that I'm going to go to positive 1 and up to positive 2. Third one is 2 to 4. I'm going to go to positive 2 and go up to positive 4. The next one is 3 to 6. So I'm going to go up to positive 3 and go all the way up to positive 6. The next one is 4 to 8. I'm going to go to 4. And then if you notice, you can't really stop on this one because the 8 is like cut off, but that doesn't mean that it's not there, right? So after I plotted my points, now I'm going to connect my dots. So I'm going to go ahead and just simply grab your pencil or whatever it is that you have, and let's start connecting our dots. So I'm simply going to go like this. This connects here, right? And that's only on quadrant 1, but if I want to keep the line going, you most definitely can, because I put little arrows here representing that the line keeps going. The relationship is the same wherever you go. So if I go to -1, all I'm simply doing is multiplying by 2. How do I know that? That's my equation. It says just take an x, multiply by 2, which is -2. -2, -4, -3, -6, and I'm going to go ahead and finish off my graph. So notice how we knew already that it was multiplicative because you're multiplying by 2. Notice how it is going straight through the origin. And if it wasn't going through the origin, then it would be an additive. So let's go ahead and see if there's anything that I can eliminate simply by knowing the fact that it's multiplicative. It has to go through the origin. On your Khan Academy assignment, you're going to be given 3 different answer choices for which graph or table to match to the equation. In this case, we have 3 answer choices here. There's option A, B, and C. All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at A first. Let me see if I were to actually graph this, if it would go through the equation, right? So right here. So based on what I drew, looks like it might. We're not going to make an assumption yet. B. Look at where it's clearly not going through the origin, because the origin is right here. It's clearly not. So this is not the answer for sure by process of elimination, because it is not going through the origin. Not going through the origin, therefore we can't choose that as the answer, right? This means that this is an additive relationship. This is where you are having to add. You might be adding 2, okay? Let's take a look at C. I'm going to connect it. Right? Also, not going through the origin. My origin's right here. It's also not going through the origin, so no origin. And then another main thing as well is if you look at the equation that we graphed on our own, we are going from the left to the right, up, right? And in this one, they're going left to right, but down, right? So they don't remain consistent with each other. Okay, therefore the only possible answer is option A. And let's just go ahead and check our order pairs. 0 had to go with 0, check the origin. 1 had to go with 2, this is 1, this is 2. 2 had to go to 4, check. 3 had to go to 6, this is 3, this is 6, check. 4 had to go to 8, this is 4, this is 8, check. And there's even an extra one. This is 5, and it goes all the way to 10. And that is also correct because remember, all you're simply doing is taking all the x's. You're taking all the x's, which is all of these, and multiplying them by 2. So let me go ahead and write that down. This is simply just 5 to the 5, 10. So basically what we did was just say y is equal to 2 times 5, y is equal to 10, and there you go. And you can also do the same thing and predict different ordered pairs for a given equation as it keeps going on both sides. Alright guys, this concludes our video for today. Have an awesome day, and I will see you all tomorrow morning. Office hours at 1 p.m.